A book plummets down the sales rankings. A prince is publicly contradicted by a foreign government official. And on British talk shows, a question once considered unthinkable begins to surface: should the line of succession be changed? The developments surrounding Omid Scobie and Prince Harry are no longer simply about personal controversy. They are edging into something far more serious: whether individual reputational risk can spill over into constitutional consequence. It begins with the publishing world. Omid Scobie's latest book was launched with considerable publicity, yet according to sales rankings cited across various commentary programs, its performance has been markedly underwhelming. At one point, the hardback edition was reported to be sitting outside the top 40,000 in the UK charts and beyond 60,000 in the United States, based on platform-specific data at the time referenced. Rankings fluctuate daily, and context always matters, but the perception formed quickly: public appetite may be waning. In publishing, numbers are not merely commercial indicators, they reflect trust. When readership declines sharply, questions inevitably follow. That trust had already been tested following controversy surrounding Endgame. The Dutch edition triggered international headlines when it included the names of two senior royals allegedly linked to a sensitive racial discussion. Scobie denied deliberately revealing those identities, yet the incident fueled widespread debate about accountability, sourcing and editorial control. For many neutral observers, the episode raised a broader concern: where does investigative reporting end and sensationalism begin? When a commentator is perceived as closely aligned with one side of a deeply divisive narrative, claims of objectivity become harder to sustain. Meanwhile, Prince Harry found himself at the center of a separate but equally delicate dispute. In a televised interview, he commented on humanitarian corridors in Gaza. The response from Israel was swift and direct. Deputy Foreign Minister Sharren Haskel publicly challenged his remarks. This was not a social media disagreement between private citizens. It was a diplomatic rebuttal directed at a member of the British royal family, albeit one who has stepped back from official duties. The core issue is not whether his assessment was right or wrong. It is about symbolism. The British monarchy rests upon strict political neutrality. When someone who remains in the line of succession comments on an active geopolitical conflict, even in a personal capacity, the distinction between private opinion and institutional implication can blur. Though no longer a working royal, Prince Harry retains his title and his constitutional position. That creates a grey area, one that becomes increasingly sensitive in a hyper-connected world. Some media commentators have observed that he appeared tense and uncertain during the interview. Such assessments are subjective, yet perception often shapes public reaction more powerfully than facts alone. A moment's hesitation, a phrase lacking clarity, can rapidly transform into an international headline. This leads to the most contentious question now being debated in certain broadcasting circles: should individuals who repeatedly generate controversy remain in the line of succession? Broadcaster Dan Wootton and guests on his program have argued that retaining figures such as Prince Andrew or Prince Harry in the succession may pose long-term reputational risks to the crown. Their argument rests on the principle that even remote constitutional scenarios require stability and public confidence. Yet this is where the discussion becomes truly consequential. Altering the line of succession is not a media talking point, it is a constitutional matter. It would require parliamentary legislation and likely consultation across Commonwealth realms. Such a move would set a profound precedent. If removal were justified on the grounds of reputational controversy, future debates would inevitably follow. Who defines reputational risk? At what threshold does personal conduct justify constitutional change? Beneath the surface, this moment reflects a broader transformation. Historically, members of the royal family operated within a tightly controlled media environment. Today, every public statement circulates globally within minutes. Every overseas visit invites scrutiny regarding funding, purpose and political interpretation. When Harry and Meghan travel internationally, questions arise not only about their message but about optics, influence and alignment. Even absent evidence of wrongdoing, sustained suspicion alone can create pressure. Parallel to this is the accusation, voiced in some commentary spaces, that parts of the mainstream British media have reported these episodes cautiously, or with limited emphasis. Whether this reflects editorial judgment, fatigue with the subject, or a desire to avoid amplifying controversy is open to interpretation. Yet in a fragmented media landscape, perception again becomes decisive. If audiences believe issues are being softened or sidestepped, trust erodes, and alternative platforms fill the gap, often with sharper and more dramatic framing. So what are we witnessing? A series of isolated missteps? Or a structural tension between modern celebrity activism and constitutional monarchy? A book's commercial underperformance may simply reflect market dynamics. A diplomatic disagreement may amount to nothing more than divergent perspectives. But when controversies cluster around the same individuals, patterns are inevitably inferred. The British monarchy has endured crises far more severe: abdications, scandals, political upheaval. Its resilience has historically rested upon discipline, restraint and adaptation. The pressing question today is not whether a single figure provokes debate. It is how much reputational volatility a centuries-old institution can absorb in the age of digital immediacy. If there is one lesson from recent weeks, it is this: reputation has never been more fragile. A book can slide down rankings in days. A televised comment can escalate into diplomatic friction overnight. And conversations once dismissed as fringe, such as revisiting the line of succession, can suddenly enter mainstream discourse. This is no longer merely about a commentator or a prince. It is a stress test for how a constitutional monarchy navigates a 21st century environment defined by permanent visibility, polarized opinion and instantaneous reaction. Ultimately, the outcome will not be determined by the loudest voices, but by whether the institution can maintain public confidence while balancing personal freedom against constitutional responsibility in an increasingly unforgiving global arena.